Hello, Adam. Can you hear me now? I don't see your mic or video yet, so hopefully it will come up. And hopefully you have joined using the desktop app and not the phone for maximum usage here. There is a chat box. You can get to it with Alt H on your Windows, Alt H, or you can get to it with Shift Command H on the Mac, Shift Command H, and we can communicate in there. If I come here and say hi, maybe you'll see it. If you do, respond. If you don't, you can go to the Facebook chat. I have that open, and you can text communicate with me there. But presently, I see you admitted, but I don't see any. Oh, I can allow you to record. So I know you got on with the desktop app and not the phone. Trying to get my mic. Okay, cool. If you have webcam and or mic, you should see them in the toolbar in your Zoom app, the top or the bottom of your screen at the left-hand side, little icon for each. If audio is only the thing that's required, if you want to chime in, you can join with your phone and use that for your audio. Can you hear me? Oops. Can you hear me? I'm assuming you are. Otherwise, I'm talking into the wind, and other people will be joining, and by the way. So I'm going to be playing a dance here for the first portion. Right. The official pre-boarding, still 2 minutes away. Connecting to audio. It says that you are connecting to audio, so that's a good sign. It's connected but muted, or not working yet. I have just sent you a request to unmute, and I'll hear it when it comes on. I hear ambient background noise. There you go. I should be hearing you soon. Hey, Adam.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Welcome aboard. You are number one, the first joiner. Let me give you some technical things here to get you going. Can you see my Fusion screen now? Or in my, not my Fusion screen. Can you see a text file screen now?
I can see it says constraint Zoom class and there's a red dot.
Do you see a text file that starts with links/shortcuts? I've got that showing at the top.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great, great. So that is got some things you're going to want to read to record. Are you on Windows or Mac?
I'm on a Mac.
So you can do record. Right here's record. Here's your Mac. I'll double click it. There is Mac. Shift Command R for record. I recommend. And then very important, stop recording before leaving the meeting. Otherwise, it won't get compressed and put to your hard drive or your local drive. So Shift Command R should bring it up. And then you can raise your hand during the meeting at any time with option Y, which is that one there. I'm going to bring somebody else on, but as far as the screen goes, here are the pertinent things you want to be reading while I'm getting the next person on board with the, oh, this doesn't show, I should have it in here. Let me get you where you need to be here, down to here, I guess. There we go, right here, screen. recording. Nope. Up here. Here we go. I think I'm going to find it. Somewhere I have monitors. Why don't I see what I'm looking for? Oh, because it's up here. Here we go. Monitor setup at the top here.
There we go.
Those are your preferred methods in that order. All right, let me see if I can get Christian going here. I'm going to admit him. And hear a ding ding. I'm going to bring Christian. Hello. Hello, Christian. Can you hear me now? Testing 1, 2, 3. Christian, can you hear me now? Your video is showing, Christian, but I don't see or hear you. I'm going to bring on another person. Let me see if they are in my list here, because certain people came on first. That is Steve. He is in the list for being admitted early. So I'm going to bring, Michael, I should say, admit Michael. Testing 1, 2, 3. Michael, can you hear me now? Your mic and video should be coming up. I'll give you an unmute message. There's your mic. Hello, Michael. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hey.
I can. Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. Get a face to the name, and I like the Aurora background. I use that one a lot. All right, so I think I'm seeing Christian. Is that you, Christian? Wave your hand.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Nice.
All right, so welcome aboard. This is the onboarding. You should be seeing a text screen with some important information for you guys. So you can record the session, and that would be Alt-R or Shift-Command-R if you're on the Mac. That's record the screen. That's right here where I've just highlighted. I usually get an indication, at least I see an icon and some indication. You'll get a red dot in the word recording when you've done it successfully somewhere. And very important here, stop the recording before leaving the meeting to compress it and put it to your local drive. Otherwise, you won't get your recording. So that's critical. You can raise your hand at any time here with Alt-Y or Option Y. Probably should have this as a downloadable file. I used to paste it into the chat, but if somebody joins late, they don't see what I pasted in earlier. So we'll just see how it goes. Maybe make a little mental note or scribble something down for these ones that are going to be important. You can get to the chat window. That one is also got hotkey, Alt-H for Windows and Shift-Command-H. This is the basic way it goes largely here, the Alt or the Shift command, other than the raise hand. That one swaps them differently. So as far as your monitor setup, it is best to have them dual monitors side by side. But if you have single, wide enough, you can have side by side. Otherwise, you will have to have them on the same screen and swap Alt tab or Command tab back and forth. Because there'll be some opportunity for you to do some stuff, and you'll want to play along as best you can as you go. So I have another person to bring on, and that person. So you can, if you haven't already read the document, go ahead and get that. If you haven't already gotten it, it is at the link right. Oh, this is the thing. It's in the notice. It's in the notice up here at the top. Right there. It's a tinyurl.com, tiny URL, and it's F360-constraints. So if you want to follow along, I will be going through this. But if you want to have it up for yourself, this is the link here. And you don't need the HTTP. You can just do that like that. All right, I got more people coming in, so I'll leave you guys to get all set up and go in the way you need to go. If you have any bandwidth issues or connection issues, just let me know. And if certain things don't show up that I'm supposed to be showing, let me know. All right, who we got next? We've got Steve and Dean. Don't think Dean is on my list of RSVP people. You see down here. No, Steve is. We got Christian here. Steve is coming on, and then we got Mike here. A couple of these I already said okay, and then I forgot to note you. So we actually have more than our 5 here, but we're all good there. So who is coming in now? Steve. I can take Steve. Don't think Dean was on my list there. I don't see him anywhere. So he'll have to wait until the end of the first period of all the people who RSVP'd early. All right, let me juggle this game. I'm going to bring Steve on board. Again, if you haven't read those docs, that's something you can do to occupy your time. And I allow him. All right, Steve, I can see your video cam icon. Hopefully, haha, there he is. Look at that. His favorite baseball cap or something. How goes there, Steve? Can you hear me now? Oh, unmute.
I can.
There you go. Excellent. Welcome aboard. Let me get you started. Some other people have arrived and they're getting themselves set up. You are going to want to start recording is a good thing. Here I have, do you see a text file and some highlight here with my mouse? Hopefully. It says Windows Alt R, Mac Shift Command R. Do you see that? It's in
No.
your Zoom. It'll be in your Zoom. You might have to, are you Windows or Mac?
Windows.
If you Alt Tab, that's your app switcher, Alt Tab. You might have to Alt Tab till you see it, but you should see a white on black text document.
Why don't I see that?
I'm not sure. I'm sharing it. I think I'm still sharing it. Can you other guys see my text file still?
No, I
Is
don't
that
think
it?
so.
Okay, let me see why that
I mean,
is not.
I see it on your screen, but I don't see it as shared.
Let me double check here. I'm going to go into my share. It says they're all sharing. Let me share again. I am on my shared text file. It says I'm sharing.
It's just the headers of the document, each of the name of the documents, and then it's
Right.
just a blank window below it.
That's all I see.
You just get the headers and black.
Yeah.
All right, let me try and reshare it. Maybe it something died on it. Yeah,
Yeah, you know when you share
I
Fusion and
get rid of that
the
one.
tree goes all black? It's very similar to that. There we go.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm playing a game. All right, let me go here and add the text file back in and say share. Sharing the text file again. Are you just seeing the bar and not the text?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And I see that when I'm doing, I've got several things open here, so I hesitate to close things down. I'm going to close this untitled and see if it brings back up the other stuff, wakes it up. You still seeing black or do you see my text?
Black.
Black. All right, I'm gonna have to whoa, what am I gonna have to do? I got a text window here. I got those things there. Let me close my text. That's what this pre-boarding is all about here. Quit text edit. There. Oh. Maybe because I'm sharing it, it's not going away. Has anything changed on your end?
One less document now.
All right. I'm going to take away that from my sharing list. It says share to. All right, that thing went away. No, it's not letting me. Oh,
I
it's
can
asking
see
me.
it, but I can't
Uh,
access it.
yeah, you won't be able to access it. You're just going to see it.
Okay.
If you were seeing black screen, I need to save the changes because I was tracking who's coming in. I think that's the dot. Yes, save that one. All right, now I need to go open my text again and then share it again, and hopefully it likes things better. Why is it doing that? Let me come over to here, dig myself down into here, find myself here, go to here, to here. This one is, nope, that's not what I want. I've got to get my Zoom interface out of the way. Here, I need to go move this out of the way. I have some details here. That one. I have a notice. That one. And I also somewhere should have my shortcuts. Shortcuts, where does it say? There's details. Keywords. Where's my shortcuts one? Ready to go. Dimensions. Keyboard. Well, let me see what happens if I do these. And let me share. Now they're in separate windows. Make life a little more difficult because now do I have to do each one individually? All right, I'm coming here looking for my text window. Where is text? I don't see text. There it is. I see they're in separate windows. All right, I'm gonna have to do it that way this way because they're not coming up the other way. All right, I'm sharing 4. Now I get to my text windows. Hopefully, I don't see them. Oh, there they are over here. Do you see a text
Yeah.
window? You
Yeah.
see text? All right. Let me try to get this thing in a good way for you guys. Got somebody else coming in. Oh, that's Dean. How do I tell him that I hear him, but I can't let him in yet? Anyhow, here is my document with the people as they come in. I got Steve, Mike, Adam, Steve. Oh, I didn't give you a star yet. Steve there.
I get
All
a,
right, so now,
I wanna-
yeah, you get a star. If I come over to my text, and I have another text here, this one I want to make this and like this. I had everything so nicely set up. All right, there is, if you haven't, anybody who hasn't already downloaded and had a chance to read the class doc, that's something you can do in the meantime here. In fact, if I go to the notice at the top right there, if you haven't got it, I'll have it up while we're doing the class, but occupy yourself in the next few minutes. It's a tiny URL, and it's simply 360-constraints. So if you haven't got that up, that might be a good thing to have. And then I need one more. A recent file will be my shortcuts. There it is, links and shortcuts. And now, oh, this one happens to be in the same, oh, that might be better. If I open recent, this was today's, oh, the other one's the class material. If I come to here and I go to the actual class material and I get rid of that one and I come back into here, thanks for bearing with. Now if I open recent, maybe I'll get them all in my tabs. Hey, look at that. It's a miracle. All right, I now have back to where I was. All right, I still got Dean waiting. I'm gonna, if I can Facebook chat him. Dean Local entered the waiting room. It didn't have a Dean RSVP at all, so I don't even know how to go. So here, I had 20 people last weekend, and it wasn't quite as interactive and personal as I thought it could be or I would like. So I did limit it to 5. I had a couple overages because I didn't account for it correctly as I went. So all of these people are the first choices. And I've got 5 of us here, but Evan and Sue are still waiting. Then these are all standby waiting list, but there's no Dean anywhere in there. I wonder if I go here, did Dean say anything in the Facebook post recently? Because I don't know what Dean it is even to, and I can't let him in yet because then I have to kick him out if one of the other people come, or just accept more people. Again, I want to try and keep it relatively small for interactivity and engagement. Well, they'll just have to wait. If they read the notice correctly, then they would know that they have to wait till after the 15-minute grace period, if you will, after the start of things. So I will just have to accept that and ignore. I want to accommodate people, but don't want to overload things. What is our time? We are almost 10 after the hour. Another 5 minutes. So we are waiting for Sue and or Evan. If they don't show up in the 15 minutes, we have 5 people already here. Or why am I only looking at 4? Do I have to make my window bigger? Did I miss somebody here? Did I overcount? I have Adam, check. And I have Christian, check. And I have Michael, check. And I have Steve. Oh, because this one is not yet. That's my overage. So we have 4 plus myself. So we are waiting for number 4, 5, and that star. And if any one of them shows up, we have 5. If more than one shows up, I'll let them in. I think we'll be okay here. Because I did say okay to all of these people that you're in. But again, it does say that even if you're in, if you show up late, then, waiting list people have a chance. And if we're already full, then there's no room for waiting list people, and then we get started. So the whole thing of me talking out loud, blabbing there is to, while we're waiting, I am switched over to my Fusion and my mouse moving. Can you see that now?
Yep.
All right, let me put my spotlight back on here. Oops, not that. right click and, oh, here it is, spotlight. There you go, little red dot helps. Can you importantly see my browser tree on the left here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If it ever disappears, let me know, and then I can drag it away and drag it back, and that seems to refresh the video adapter or whatever's going on. These windows, I'll try and see if it messes it up. So there it is. You can drag it and put it on the right and put it anywhere you want it. But by default, I go there and it turns green to let me know. And I've docked it on the left again, so hopefully you can see it. They're separate windows in the program, so they're different threads or there's something different about them. You think you're in a cohesive, coherent interface, but it's really made up of pieces, parts that all look like one. And every now and then something goes rogue. If we get any audio problems, let me know. We can stop videos and do things to try and get some bandwidth back. There is closed captioning. And if you have a different first language and you would like to see in closed caption, that's possible. At the end, I am recording this one, which I don't normally do, but I'm testing to make a summary. And so the AI will chat GPT like or whatever language model it's using, will go through and summarize it and give some stuff. So that's kind of neat. Some people have a phone app where it'll make a transcript, a timestamp coded transcript, which will make it more valuable. So I'm still working out. I got the Pro Zoom recently. I've been scouring all the help and YouTubes and whatnot to try and get the most out of it here. There will be one poll to find out which constraints are giving you the most problem. And at the end, there will be a short 2-question survey optional just to get some feedback from you guys. It should appear in your browser, I'm told. And I've tested it to the extent that I can on my side. All right, we're at the 2:15. Dean may be getting on board if the other people don't show up in the next couple minutes. Let me see what we got here. Anything that you guys should be doing in this meantime? So there's today's meeting. There's the shortcuts. Guess I really want my class at the beginning of the tabs right there. And all of that looks good. And then my shortcuts. I don't have this document available. I should make it. I've been work in progress. But just so you can look at these while we wait for the last little bit of time. Chat, raising your hand again here if anybody missed that one. If I don't see it, feel free to chime in audio. Interruption is not a problem as long as we're on target, focused on the things that we're doing and not side questions. You might want to, somewhere along the way, I may request a screen share. That's down here. You can do screen captures, screenshots with your OS the way you like to do it, or there is functionality in Zoom, and you can even paste. You could copy that and then paste it into the chat if need be. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I will be showing this infographic here. But if you don't have it yet, maybe for future reference, here it is again, tiny URL. And this one is F360 sketch infographics with hyphens. So I will be referencing that one during the class. All right, I think Dean is going to be in luck today because I don't see any of our other people yet. And that'll be 5. And that these people, maybe something has happened to them. beyond their control. All right, you guys, we're going to be getting going proper very soon here. I should look into my chat box every now and then. All right, I'm going to click and get Dean on board here. Then we'll get going. Thanks for your patience. Testing 1, 2, 3. Dean, can you hear me now? I can see your video, Dean. Hopefully the audio will start coming up. And I can see you joined with the desktop. There's your video coming up. Earth to Dean. Testing 1, 2, 3, Dean.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Excellent. I can hear you. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
All right. You are lucky number 5, which is the limit.
Cool.
All the pre-RSVPs and 4 of them showed up. So you are the lucky winner number 5. Let me get you onboarded, and then everybody else is already set up, and then we can start the actual class. So you should be seeing hopefully a text white on black right now.
Yeah, how long RSVP's waiting list is what's on display on my screen.
You should be seeing a text file white on black, and I have highlighted links, shortcuts, etc. at the top here.
No, I don't.
You might have to Alt tab or Option tab, Command tab. Are you Windows or Mac?
I'm on Windows.
All right.
I
So if you Alt tab will switch apps. You might have to Alt tab until you see it. I'll move my mouse around for ease of so you can see it. I'm moving my
yeah.
mouse, a little red dot.
No.
Does everybody else see my text still?
Yeah. I
Okay.
see the part that says the beginning, how long will vary with participants and questions. That's what I see.
It's the same for me.
It starts with what?
How long? It's the beginning of the download.
Right here. How long? What's the very top say?
Say that again.
What's the very top line say?
How long? Question mark.
Oh, why don't I see that?
Alt tab.
Oh, right here.
Yes.
Am I not sharing all of my, when I switch over, I have 3 tabs in my text here. If I switch over to another one, it's not switching. You still see the same thing?
Yeah.
That's my share. Remember when I went from tabs to whatever? Let me come here and see if I can do these individually. If I add that one, I added another text one. Let me come down and find, is there another text one? I'm sharing 3. Let me try this. Sorry about this.
We've got it there now.
All right. Can we see links, shortcuts, etc. yet?
No, we've got a screen where there's some text heading where there's a 3 tabs with the names of the files. A moment ago we had an image with constraints and different constraints on it.
Am I back to my black screen, you guys who were here earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the tabs.
Let me pull these tabs off. I'm going to pull each of these tabs off. Yeah, this is unfortunate, but bear with me while I get this straightened out. I'm going to take them out of the tab form.
Yep,
and
they're
so
going.
so I can share them individually, hopefully. So that one's right now, I think I'm showing one that says constraints / dimensions and all of the sections and whatnot.
Yes.
They're both up on the screen, but the one that is selected is constraints, dimensions, overview, detail.
All right.
-10 text.
I'm switching over. Now I am looking at one that says links, shortcuts, etc. at the top.
No.
Nope. Okay. Let me share that one. I think now I have them individually shareable. but it's showing just the line and not the stuff. I'm not sure why it's doing this. There we go. Got all that there. It says sharing 5 now. Let's get over here and then get down to here. All right, I'm hopefully sharing one that says links, shortcuts, etc. at the top.
No.
No. All right, I'm gonna put this one in the chat because for some reason it's not showing, but you'll be able to get at it in the chat if I do this one the right way. Go to my chat, come over here and paste. All
Yeah.
right, your chat. Can you see a chat come up?
Yep.
All right. So this is the information I was getting at, and one way or the other is fine. So for our new Dean, you are going to want to have, oh, this is not where I have the monitor stuff. Do you have dual monitor, Dean, or single monitor?
No, I have a dual monitor.
Great. Then side by side is going to be best. My screen and your screen. And recording, did we already talk about recording for you? You can Alt R. It's going to be to record. Alt R. And very important, you have to stop the record before you leave the meeting, or it won't get recorded. And you can raise your hand with Alt Y. There it is in the chat if you look for it. Raise and lower hand toggle Alt Y. All right. Well, we'll pretend that we have all of that in order. And I will close that window, get some real estate back. So importantly, I'm going to find out that we definitely want to see one of these screens, particularly this one. This is the one you have to see. If I don't have it, I'll have to figure it out. Do you have constraints and dimensions in the sections listed?
Yes.
Like a table of contents? Excellent. All right, let's get going. We got here 5 minutes or so after the 15, but that's about right. Bringing the late arrivers on. Excellent. Well, thanks for coming. Hopefully we'll figure something out here. I have a poll. Let's see how that goes. It is supposedly in here. Maybe it's under more. I am going to take a quick poll at the beginning to see which, here we go, polls and quizzes. And I have a quiz poll in here. I'm going to launch it. You should be seeing a simple poll listing all of the constraints, and you choose one of them that is most confusing. And then I will get an indication. I'm not sure if it is showing it to you guys yet or not, but I will at least be seeing it. And then I can know which things. Currently, I don't see any clicks. Is anybody able to actually see this poll and take it? Oh,
Yep.
three of 5 participants at 60% of people have answered. So I have a coincident has got one so far. Concentric has one, and symmetry has one. For the record, I have never had use for symmetry. There might be some good use cases, but any symmetries in my things I do otherwise. But not that it's not good. All right, 5 of 5. We got them there. Are anybody doubled up? We have coincident 1, concentric 1, symmetry is the biggie. That's 3 out of 5. All right, maybe we'll have to look at it then. I'll put that somewhere in the end. It's not in the list, but the whole idea here is to empower and elevate you guys so that you can realize your design intent. All right, so I can end the poll and I can share results. I don't have to do that. It's pretty straightforward here. And now if I close it out, awesome. So we are starting here. There are 4 sections. And there's the before, the during. This second one here is actually chat GPT overview of everything with a little editing. Turned out kind of nice, but that's before you get here. And then at the end is also important. There is a key words and concepts to, after the meeting class, you can review those and see which are familiar and which aren't, to know what you have to go back and revisit and study a little more. So there we have that. You will notice that this title, Realizing Design Intent in Sketches, does not have the word constraints anywhere in it, because the bigger picture here is to realize your design intent, and constraints are just part of that within the sketches. So there's a bigger picture here. Furthermore, I have a bigger title, and it says The 3D CAD Way, Concept Focused Approach. This is important because the point and click you get on the YouTubes only get you so far, right? If you're not in the same situation, or they change the icons or the names, or something changes, you're lost. So we are going to be focused on concept, on understanding. I want to teach you to fish and not just feed you fish. So that's the idea there. A couple of things I have here. Everything I learned, I didn't know before. And importantly, confusion when learning is normal, so embrace it. A lot of people push back when they don't understand. They get all anxious about it, but don't worry. We all know we get that aha moment. We look back on it and it all makes sense. And it's obvious once we've actually put everything together. New concepts, new terms, new actions, etc. So there's all that. There's all the philosophy. So my approach is different in that I'm looking at the concept and the concrete, where the concept is the idea and the concrete is the implementation or the labels we give to things. So if you understand up front the concept, then there's multiple implementations of that idea. But if you just start in the concrete, like a lot of people do, and they start making stuff, sketching and whatever, then they get stuck. It's because they didn't conceptually understand. They're got their nose on the bark and they're hammering, but the solution is to be sawing on another tree, but they can't see it. So this is why I take this approach of concept, understand the relations between the things and not the things themselves in some fashion. And then you get, because there's a range of ways to do something. And you want to have the concept, and then you knowing the tools and whatnot, then you can decide which implementation. So this is a key point of the philosophy of how I'm doing things here. The lesson plan is going to be intentionally simple. So, and it's going to build, but do try not to go, oh, I've already seen that, I know that. I'm trying to get at the underlying connections of things and bring it all together holistically as a system. And then you will be a lot more effective, efficient, and productive. Too many of those YouTubes, they don't give that connection, and you're just doing sort of things, but you don't know how they go together. So another key difference. And I'm keeping it simple because I just want to focus on the essence of things and not clutter it, not complicate it with anything else. And here's the summary. We'll be doing the in-sketch stuff shortly here, but a couple more things to get across. Of course, understanding constraints is critical. And here is, you should have this document or available. This is a really great video supplement that shows each constraint and how they go. So after the class, that will be a good one for you guys to reference. Here's another of my philosophy things. When somebody says, how do I do X, Y, Z? It pretty much always starts with, it depends. What's the best computer I should get, Swami? Well, how much money? What are you going to use it for, etc. That kind of thing, right? So, so we want our design intent to drive, to inform these decisions, right? And so what's critical? The whole center separation for our flange or something like that. These are critical. Then driving and driving is very central, not just in sketches, but in a broader sense. One thing depends on another thing. If I change this one, the other one changes. So we'll be seeing this idea of what's driving and what's driven. Your basic forms, the different parameters. But so the whole point is, if you think before in this way, your workflow is going to be better. Here's another important one. If anybody comes from a traditional background, either making hand drafting or even 2D AutoCAD or something, I caution you not to use a familiar square peg in a shiny new round hole because they just don't relate. In fact, a 3D sketch, 3D CAD sketch is not a traditional drawing, 2D drawing. In fact, your end goal is really to get solids for the most part, not to have a fully defined sketch with a title block and all the call outs and all that stuff. You're going to clutter your sketch. You're going to bog it down. You're going to have difficulty in selecting stuff is going to be overlapping and you get little slivers of things you miss. So you really want to keep your sketches simple and you want to largely decompose them into different aspects of your design. And they all build up together to get you to the final result of your solids, your actual models that you're going to machine or print or whatever you're going to do with them. So this is a critical difference between them. And here, I think of the constraints and the dimensions together working as a team. So I call them definitions, my word. They define the geometry. And so what they allow us to do is to locate and orient our entities, to size them, dimension, etc., and to control the degrees of freedom. This is the whole idea of constraining, to limit the degrees of freedom, the motion. And the good practice, although not strictly necessary, is to get a fully constrained sketch. You probably have heard of this. But the reason is we want to lock things down so that they don't inadvertently get changed and we mess things up. And so the other big reason for a fully constrained sketch is to show your design intent. I want these always to be perpendicular. I want this always to be this length. So if you send a drawing to a job shop, traditional drawing, and it's not fully specified, they're going to send it back and say, I don't know your intent. I don't know exactly what you want to do here. So that's the same idea with our fully constrained sketch. Excellent. So that was not too bad, 5-10 minutes worth. All right, so here we go into the actual sketching. So go ahead, if you haven't already, bring up your Fusion, create a file, and rule 0, save early, save often. So Control S or Command S is the classic save for the OS, and you just have to hit enter. You don't have to move the less you move the mouse, the faster you go. So however you like to do it, you should have your Fusion up with a sketch ready to do stuff. The first thing I will note, and I'm going to hop back and forth between my text and my thing here. So it takes a moment, a couple of seconds. Do you see my Fusion now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so I am going into the sketch here, my sketch. And I know I'm in the sketch because here's my sketch palette and there's my finish sketch button. I like to turn off the snap. It's a personal preference, but this is more of a 2D CAD way of thinking and doing. You get a grid and you make a point exactly there and you make a line exactly there. But 3D sketching is not like that. It's just get stuff in there and start to lock it down and get it into the form you want with your constraints and your dimensions. So I never use this for my workflow. So we're going to turn that one off, if you will. And then this one is taking me back to a place I didn't want to go. All right. So get that out of the way. And then fully constrained. So our fully constrained sketch, we're going to have some indicators here. For one thing, over in the tree, if we look at our item here, we have a little red lock. That tells us that it's fully constrained. Now, it's a brand new sketch, so it's trivial. It's locked.
Can't see your browser tree.
Okay, thank you. I'll pull it away and then I'll put it on back. Has it reappeared? Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Anytime, just let me know, Michael. Thanks. So we get a little red lock. Otherwise, we get a little edit pencil, a little yellow pencil. We also get some visual indicators, and hopefully you can see now an infographic. And thank you. And the free point, that one will have a hollow circle. It will be black or filled in when it's constrained. And then up at the top here, depending on the environment you've chosen, you'll get a color change. For the white background, under constrained is blue and fully constrained is black. So successively things will be getting black or changing color. And then when you know you've gotten there, you can look over in the tree and you'll see that you get this little red guy right there. So we are ready to actually start doing some sketching. If I get myself back to here and make sure. So this is how it's going to go. We are going to progress from the super simple point, but this is going to give us a fundamental understanding of what's going on. Then the line, then the rectangle, then these splines, these curves that some people have some issues with. They're a little different. The tangent constraint is one of the more tricky ones. So we'll talk about that. Trim and fillet. We'll talk about that, which is, for me, a 2D CAD way. I generally don't trim or use fillet in my sketches, but you can decide what works for you, but I'll just explain why. Then we'll do an example to make a tube revolving a rectangle, and then at the end we'll look at the slots. So that is the basic flow of things there. So you can follow along here if you will. If I go too fast, too slow, you miss something, just jump in and I'll take care of that. I'm a hotkey guy, so I have hotkeys for these. We are going to make a point. It's under create, point right there. Maybe I'll do that just so I don't lose you guys. Oh, when I change
browse the
windows,
tree and you don't see anything yet, so.
I'm not happy about that. I think when I switch from one thing to the other, it goes away because they're not cohesive. All right, can you see it again? I pulled it back and forth.
Yeah.
All right, great. So I am ready to make a point, an actual point and a literal point. Okay, so here's my cursor. I'm just going to make it up here somewhere, and then I'm going to hit enter so I have it there. Now, it's hollow. That means it's a free point, so I can freely drag it anywhere. It's not constrained at all, no limits to it. Now, we're going to constrain it, and we can do this in an automatic, implied, inferred way where we drag things around, or we can do it more intentionally, and we'll show you the different ways. But you can go ahead and drag. It's looking for other entities. If I come to the center of my sketch, it's going to snap onto it. A little blue box appears in this case, and you let go. And now when you look over into your tree, you see we have our little red lock. And we have a new icon down here to the left. If you click and select that little L looking thing, go down to the very lower right, and there's a data info area some people miss, and it tells me I have a coincident constraint. And suspiciously, up at the top center in the constraints, it looks a lot like that icon for the coincident. So they're all going to be, we're going to be looking for this visual feedback and any text feedback to know what we're doing. Furthermore, if you do a long click and hold, some people miss this one. If you do a long click and hold, it will bring up a selection list of everything under the cursor. And this works outside of Sketch as well. And then when you hover, there's only one here, but when you hover, it'll highlight which thing. So you can identify which constraint is going with which geometry.
Okay, so how come I don't see in the corner, I don't see coincident constraint. I see a sketch point with the coordinates down in the bottom right corner.
Down in the bottom right. All right. Do you see the coincident constraint?
Hey, I do not.
Make sure you drag that point. If the point's hollow, it's not there yet.
Well, if I click out of it, it shows it as a black dot.
Okay. And when you click to select it, at the bottom it says sketch point and it gives XYZ.
Yes, and then I see the coincident
Okay, good.
pipe work,
Excellent.
whatever those are.
Yeah, it's a icon or a glyph, whatever you want to call it.
That
Yep.
works.
Excellent. So there it is.
Can I just ask a question? When you clicked on it and it provided the dialogue underneath that actually said that So I've got the coincident constraint at the bottom right hand. Yes, that. What did you do to bring that
Long,
up?
long click and hold. Just push down your left until the list comes up, like a couple seconds. It's called a long click and hold.
Left mouse.
Anything under the, yeah, left mouse. Yeah, I will specify if it's something else. If I just say click, I'm going to mean left. So if
Okay.
you just click it, you do a long click and hold, and anything under the cursor will show up in that selection list.
No.
Nope. There might be something funny going on your end.
So I was left mouse. Yeah, no, I've got it.
Yeah, left mouse.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I was doing right mouse. Apologies.
Yep. That's all right. That'll happen. Your other left. So I'm going to go ahead and select it and delete it. And now our lock has gone away over here on the left in the tree. And we have a hollow dot. And now I'm free to move it around. Back to where I started, maybe. Now, I'm going to lock it down using just dimensions. So if I do D for dimension, I'm going to go from that dot to the center. And if I go in one place, I get horizontal. If I move my mouse to another, I get vertical. And lastly, I get the true dimension, if you will. So I'm going to do one of these horizontal. So we're going to do this, click, hit enter, just accept whatever's there. I still have the tool. So I'm going to do the vertical. And when I do that, again, I'm fully constrained and I have my little red lock over here. And if I get rid of my tool, escape to get rid of that tool. And now if I try to drag it, no can do. And it's black. So we have fully constrained our sketch entity in a somewhat automatic way, inferred with a constraint. And then we also did it with just dimensions. So again, these things as definitions, defining your geometry, they're working as a team. So that's the key thing I want to keep in mind here. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. Just those box them. And now we're going to do a line and working our way up. L for line. And I'm going to put it up here to the right again with no dimension, no nothing. So we see we have our free points on the ends and we have a blue line in my case. So now it's free to go in the old where. Now, you can actually override, by the way, which is important. If you get a lot of stuff going on, it might try to infer and put a constraint somewhere you don't want it. You'll hold the control or the command key. So if I hold that key and I drag my point towards the center, but I have my control or my command, you see it's not snapping. There's no little blue box showing up. So I have overridden the automatic. But we do want it there because it is good practice to anchor your sketch to a datum. And the origin is already there. It's a logical one. So we often want to lock it on there or at least have some dimension or something that relates it to that datum, that reference point. So go ahead and click until you get the little blue box. You might have to squint your eyes to see it. It snaps there and you let go. And again, this is a weird thing. And I have a ticket with tech support. It doesn't always show that constraint, but we know it's there because if I try to drag it now, it won't move and it's not hollow. So I know I put it on there. But no matter what I do, it takes a lot of dancing. Eventually you might get it to show up, but it doesn't always show up. So just know that that's a little quirk. Now, when something's not working, I point the finger at myself first. And then if I really fully analyze it and think I understand it, then maybe it is a bug or a quirk. And this is one of them. And because it doesn't show those coincidences, because if you have a bunch of lines connected, you're going to have 4, 5 of those on any given point. And you have 10, 50, 100 points in your sketch, and it's just going to be a mess. So the coincidence doesn't always show. Anyhow, so we have that locked down, but we still have freedom on that endpoint and the line. So we're going to make an angle, and we can make an angle between a couple lines or 3 points, but we don't have another line. If we had one, we could do it. When we create the line, just watch this one, L for line here. It's waiting for an angle. If I hit tab, I could give it an angle. And it automatically created this construction line with a horizontal for me. I tend not to do that because I don't want to add anything extra if I already have a piece of geometry that I might reference. So in general, I don't do that. Now, to show something here, we do actually have a line of sorts. We have this red representing the axis and the Y. So if we come over into our tree and we put the visibility of our coordinate system on, they say origin. I don't like that because it's not an origin. Oh, can I move? Uh-oh. How do I do this? Ha. Give me a moment. I have my zoom in the way. I need to open that guy up and put him back. And put him back. All right. You should be seeing a red and green and a orange square there. That is the coordinate system. And I am going to make, we are going to make a angle between this X and that line. You have to choose the X first, I have found. So over in the tree, I'm going to click on the X, and down in the lower right, again, it's telling me X axis. Then hit D for dimension. You can pre-select or post-select or in between, it just depends. So it's looking for dimension, and I'm going to hit my blue line and click there and hit enter and just accept whatever it is and hit escape to get rid of my tool. And now when we look over here, we are not fully constrained yet because we need a length on this guy. So D for dimension. I'm going to give it a true length, go off to the correct direction, hit enter to accept the default, escape to get rid of it, my tool. And now I get my red lock, which is the magic we're looking for all the time as we go. All right, so I'm going to hide my coordinate system. I'm done with that guy. You will notice, though, that in purple, it has projected in, if you've ever done projection, it has projected in that axis. And if I hover, I get a little projection icon. That's a constraint of sort. That means that it's linked to the source. I can't change it in here. If I try to click and drag that purple, it's not going to go anywhere. It's projected from outside of the sketch to another sketch or a body. So anyhow, that is another one of our constraints. So now we have it fully constrained. Let's have a play. I am going to, these are all driving. So we're going to get at the driving and the driven. So if I have nothing selected and I right click on this angle, you'll see I can toggle to driven. So go ahead and toggle yourself to driven. And now it's indicated in parentheses. My lock is gone because I'm not fully constrained anymore. And now if I drag my endpoint, it will move. It won't change the size because the dimension is set. But you'll see that the angle is changing as I go. It's being driven. So initially when we make stuff, they're generally driving. We can change them to driven. They can be a nice indicator just to let us know. And you can also use that parameter perhaps in another sketch or in a feature. In the past, you had to do some trigonometry to get that angle and use it as a parameter. So that's a nice recent thing they've done. So that is our driving and our driven. And I think that does all of the stuff we need to know about the line. So unless there's any questions, which is fine, we're going to move on to the rectangle.
Sorry, I missed that again. So you were changing it from to driven.
Driving.
From driving to driven.
That's
driven.
right.
So what happened to do that?
You without anything selected, you hover over with your picker and you right click, and it will toggle it whichever way it has to go.
Okay.
This is your This is your context. This is your context menu in context, depending on what the situation is, and this is your marking menu there. So that allowed me to switch it. Cool. So that's a critical concept, a core concept in sketches and otherwise. What affects what other thing? And 3D CAD allows us to build in these relationships. That's one of the powers of having constraints and other ways of relating the entities of our geometry. So I'm going to delete that one, and we're going to move on to the rectangle. So I will do R for rectangle. Brings up here. Now over in your palette, sketch palette, notice that the different types are here. You could do them up under the create dropdown, but I find them handy right here. So there's 3 kinds, and we'll look at each one. The default here is a 2 point. So I am going to click, drag up, click, and hit enter, get rid of the tool, and there you have it. I'm going to do each one of these at a time, and then we'll look at them. So the next one is the 3 point. This one can go there and down to an angle. This one I can put it at an angle, like that. This one is restricted up and down, left and right there. Then I do the last one is my center point, which a lot of you probably have seen already and used. It's handy. Click that one and hit enter. So let's take a look at what we have. We have rectangles, but they're different versions. And the rectangle and the version is determined by the constraints that get automatically put on there. So if we look at our first one, we have a vertical there and a vertical, and then horizontals on the other opposing sides. And so if we click a corner, we see we can move it around, but we can't rotate it. We can't tilt it or anything. And when I hover, you do see that there is the constraint coincident between the endpoints of these 2 lines. But they only show when you hover or select, typically. Now, if we move over here, we'll have more of a mathematical definition of a rectangle where we have parallel, the opposite sides are parallel. This looks a little bit like the horizontal vertical, but it's actually parallel. And this parallel is between 2 entities, whereas our horizontal vertical is the one entity relative to the space, if you will. Yep. So then go ahead. Good.
It's just my mute button, don't worry.
Very well. So the other thing in here is our perpendicular constraint. That's our 90 degrees. And so by virtue of those constraints, the other angles are 90. And in fact, if we make a dimension, do deeper dimension, maybe I'll do this corner up over here, and I'll come out, and a dialog comes up and says, create a driven dimension. I'll say, yeah, create a driven one. So now, hit escape, get rid of that tool. So there is my 90 degrees, and the others will be the same. So it's driven by virtue of the other stuff. Now, I can come down here and get rid of my perpendicular. Go ahead, select it, hit delete on your keyboard. Now, if I drag a corner, I get a parallelogram. I still have opposite sides parallel, but I'm not enforcing 90 degrees anymore, which gives me my parallelogram. So sometimes I'll start with a rectangle and then slightly change it, get rid of one or more constraints, and then boom, I get my final thing without having to spend more time maybe doing it. So there are ways to work smarter, not harder. Now, one thing I will note, this thing will rotate, but right now it's not doing it because the way things are set up. So what I can do is use the fix. Now, I caution against using the fix too much, but it's this lock here. I'm going to fix this point right there, maybe. I still have my lock, get rid of it. Now, when I click, that point is locked down, it's fixed, and I can go around. So fix I often use for a temporary to make my geometry behave in a way when it's not fully constrained, it might not do what I think I want it to do. Now, it turns green counterintuitively. Green in this case means locked. Also, if you've ever brought in an SVG and it has a lot of nodes, it comes in fixed green, because what's going on under the hood here that I should introduce is something called the solver. And the solver is what is determining all of these constraints and dimensions to get your geometry. It's a geometric constraint solver. And for every sketch and dimension you put in there in some combo, it's creating equations to realize those things. And you get a system of equations, and you get more and more and more equations. And if you get too many, you overload the solver and you can't interact in a useful way. And this is a limitation versus other CAD. If you bring in an SVG and it has 10,000 nodes, you're not going to get anywhere. So you either have to reduce the node count and hopefully still get an acceptable thing to work with, or you can lock things down and then it's going to be better. So if you bring in an SVG, it comes in locked. You might unlock it and do some stuff, but when you're done, remember to lock everything back so that you're going to have a good performance. You're not going to have a lag in when you click and drag something, for instance. So when anybody says never do this or always do that, don't believe them, right? Because we know if you know the rule, you know when to break it, or you know those few use cases where it is appropriate, or always fully constrained, right? Sometimes maybe you don't want it fully constrained when you're starting because you want to have some freedom to move stuff and what if and play with it. So try not to get black and white. Yep.
So if I'm in this case, I'm stuck on one of the points on the projection line. How do I get it, move the entire geometry off of there?
The projection line. What is it purple? A projection line is purple, technically.
Correct. Yes.
And you brought in the x-axis or something?
Yes. Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah, you can hover over it. Oh, yeah. Hover over, and if you find a constraint, like a coincident, you can delete it. Or you can just recreate. If this is the tricky one, if you made your default 2-point rectangle and by habit automatically hooked it to the origin, like I've done right there, that's that tricky one that doesn't always show the constraint and you can't get rid of it. You have to start over or do something different.
Because it's like now my 3-point rectangle has 1 point on the projection line. I don't even know why I have a projection line. I don't know how to turn it off.
Well, that could be from a previous, if you have a projection line. I didn't see how you got there, but for the sake of just moving along here, you can just ignore it for the moment. We've actually covered everything we need to cover about this guy. Very well. But speak up anytime, and then I'll decide how to deal with it. So our last one here, quick tip, if you double click a line, you get a chain. That's a quick way to click everything and move it around, for instance. And this happens in outside of the sketch, this idea of a chain. You'll see it in the dialog box for extrude and other things. Anyhow, if we look at this one, we see it has our parallels on opposite sides. It has our 90-degree perpendicular here. It also happens to have a horizontal because the way I did things. If I do like a line, if I do a line and I'm fairly horizontal, I get a little blue icon. It's kind of faint, indicating that it's going to put a horizontal there. If I get close to vertical, I'm going to get the same indicator, but now it's vertical. That's why it's a horizontal / vertical. It decides whichever one you're closer to as to which one it's going to put on there. So in this case, I have that one there. It doesn't have to be there. The important ones are the opposite sides are parallel and this guy is perpendicular. But the extra part is it's a center rectangle, so we want to be able to identify the center. And the way they've done it is 2 diagonal construction lines dashed. And you see now if I hover over it, I get 2 coincident constraints, 1 for each line. So in fact, if I click one and I hold shift to add to my selection, I shift click the other in the bottom right, I can confirm 2 coincident constraints there. And I'm going to get rid of those. I'm going to delete them. And now we see our center point has gone white. going hollow, which means it's free. So if I click and drag it, it's free to go over there. I'm going to leave him outside to show another way to do things. If I delete one of these diagonals, go ahead and select and delete that. Now, if I come here and I drag my point, it's looking for entities. If it finds a line, it gives a little blue X. If I move it along towards the midpoint, when it finds the midpoint, I get a little blue triangle. That's the international symbol. Now, if I let go, I have it at the midpoint. And now I've effectively identified the center of my rectangle in a different way. So this is emphasizing the point that different combinations of constraints and dimensions can lead to the same geometry, but give you different underlying control maybe. This case, it might just be a different way, but in other cases, you're going to want to keep in mind your design intent, what control you want, and how you get the thing to behave well the way you want it to behave. That's the whole game we're playing here with our constraints and our dimensions. So that is how all of that goes. Let me look at my notes and see the order in which I want to do things here. And when I go back, I'll probably lose my browser. So constraints. I think I'll do trim and fillet first, and then these. Oh, I got splines. What a mess I got here. Let me do splines. I'll do splines. Okay. If I come back to Fusion, has my browser disappeared? My browser tree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Every time I go back and forth, I'll have to refresh it. And now it should be back. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I
Yeah, I
won't.
can see it.
I won't ask again. I won't ask again. If it's not there, let me know. All right. So we are done with all this fun. I'm going to select them all and delete. There we go. Now, you guys have possibly used splines. They're not really a 3D CAD thing or a CAD thing in general. CAD are simply defined lines and circles and arcs and these things. So these get a little trickier because of that. Go ahead and do a create, and you'll see there are two kinds of splines, the fit and the control. We're going to do the fit, and we'll explore these. So over here somewhere, I'm going to make a little TP, little 3 points. You have to hit enter. If you hit escape like you do on other tools, it goes away, you lose it. It's a one oddball. And then I'm going to make the other kind. Down here, spline and control point. And I'm going to do the same 3-point TP looking thing there. Now they're different looking. And let's take a look at what's going on. So this spline here, all the points lie on the curve, and you get these little handles. They enforce a smooth connection called a tangent. So you have a tangency handle, and you can change its angle and its size to change the curve. You can constrain these, dimension these, and you can do it all day long, and it's not working, right? Because they're this oddball. You might want to lock one to the origin, or I can take this line and make it horizontal, and I can take this line and make it vertical. So you might want to do a couple things, but it's not worth the effort of doing all of it. Because imagine you've got a point, each point has a line and 2 endpoints. So if you had 5, 10, 20 of those nodes, it'd be a mess. So people go, I can't fully constrain this spline, blah, 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 and they get all anxious about it. Don't worry about it. All right. So over here, let me hit escape. This is different in that only the endpoints do the points lie on the curve. This is controlling. The others are controlling, but this one is controlling. It's kind of like a weight, pulls it closer or away like that. Now there's less going on here. I don't have all the handles and stuff. So this is simpler in some regard. If you're wanting to do something that's changing direction a lot, this one is a good choice, because this one, you're going to get these lines and these points crossing each other in really confusing ways. these create a higher order curve, a better, smoother curve in some fashion. And you may or may not see it depending on your use case. So this is the control frame, and then these are the control points, and they allow you to control the curve. And you can dimension and constrain these as well. But don't get too worried if you can't get them all. They're problematic because they're a little more involved than your other simple geometry shapes. So that is all I'm going to say about splines. But I will ask if you have any questions, because they are a little bit tricky and a lot of people have problems with them. Anyhow, minimize the number of nodes to keep things simple and easy to edit and whatnot. Don't just click around your cookie cutter or something.
So I stuck my hand up for the constraint symmetry, not because I was having issues with it, but because I haven't used it. Is this perhaps a use case for symmetry?
No, I mean, you could have a symmetry here. Let me jump into it just for the moment, because again, I'll play with it a little bit. I think if I make a circle there and I make a line of symmetry over here, there, and then by the way, if you select and you shift select, add your selection, it's going to hide, gray out, disable all those things that don't make any sense based on the context. That's handy. Better yet, you just right click, and in the context area in the section for our constraints, we get it here. Now I think if I grab my symmetry, again, I don't use this one, but we'll figure it out. If you don't know, you can hover and it will tell you constrains 2 or more objects to create a smooth, oh, wrong thing, lose your error. Constrains 2 or more objects so that they are symmetric, identical. I need another object, I think, maybe, huh? If I come over here and make another circle on this side. Now will I get to make those symmetric here? So it's going to ask me to do something. Select sketch object or change something. So I click that, I click that, and I click that. There we go. It also made them the same size, I think. Yeah, they're connected. They were different size to start with, and now they're locked, and they're about this line of symmetry right there. You can use mirror. In fact, it made a mirror constraint here. That one right there looks a lot like a mirror. It says symmetry, but it's the same icon for mirror, I think. So it's a kind of mirror across a given line, and it's keeping them the same, even though they started off different. Now, I don't know what happens if I were to undo that one, dimension this one here, and make this one smaller, just out of curiosity, dimension that one there. Now what happens if I go for my symmetry here? Is it going to force one to the other? It doesn't let you do it.
Well, it's constrained at that point, right?
Yeah, that's why it's unable to resolve.
Right, our initial dimension constraint, if you will, made it such that it can't do it.
What's interesting,
in fact,
though,
if I tried to...
is if you have all 3 of those selected, it makes the circles the same size. It makes the center of the circles the same distance from your line. But when you move the line, it didn't move the circles necessarily, keeping them.
Oh, yeah, that does. Yeah, it does. I think you missed it. I think you missed it. If I get rid of one of these, is it going to force the other one to the other? If I right click, no, it doesn't let me. It only says fix, unfix. So you can't, it appears that you can't have any dimension. Oh,
I think it depends on the order in which you select.
It might be the order. Also, it's now forcing this one to be that one.
Right.
Right? Because if I come here and I make that 30, then they go 30. But for your question here, They are moving. Well, one is moving to maintain it, depending on how we have it set
Okay,
up.
yeah, okay.
But
I
it's
see,
always
yeah.
maintaining. Yep. Yep. If I went from there to there, like that, and I made a point. Oh, that's not my point. It's that point. There we go. If I made a point there and said that one and shift click that one and midpoint, it should be right in the center there. There we go. Excellent. Nice little aside. So there we go. We have answered. And this is the beauty of interactive 3D programs or programs is you just say, what if? And you look at the help and you play with it until you find the relationship and then you've learned how it works. Great. So that was our splines. And then we have tangent and we had trim. I'm going to do trim and trim and then fill it when I do something else. So here is, we're going to go to the next thing. R for rectangle. I am going to lock it to the origin by good practice and come out here somewhere and just hit enter. And there we have it. I had my construction active in my sketch palette. So I'm going to actually hit X and toggle that one back here. All right. Let us say we go ahead and put a dimension on the side here and a dimension on the top here. There we go. And you can do Alt or Option double click, and that fits everything into the screen. Kind of nice. Alt double click. It's the same as fit right there. Anyhow, we have a nice little arrangement here. Let us say I want a cutout of this corner. Sometimes people think in this fashion, they'll make something and then cut it away. And I'm going to make this one find the midpoint. There it is. Is it there? There it is. There. Enter. All right, we're set up. So now I have, I want to trim these away. I'm cautioning you not to use trim or to know when to use it and when to not. Again, I consider it a 2D CAD way of thinking and doing. I found very little use for it, and I can do plenty of what I want. But just to show you how it goes, T is the default for trim. If I come and hover over the top, it highlights in red there, and I get rid of it, and I get this box. You may have seen it and or ignored it. And it says constraints and or dimensions were removed. Now, this may or may not affect what you're doing depending on the situation. So in this case, our dimension that was on a line all the way across here, it deleted this though, but it still has this point. I hit escape. If I hover, this point is still connected sort of where they intersected, right there and there. But if I click and drag it, I get wonky time. So that's not good. We don't want that behavior. Furthermore, if I go T for trim, and by the way, you can just click and drag and it just paints over whatever. And I'm going to get rid of this one. And that midpoint's going to go away. And my dimensions went away. So I've now gotten rid of work I already did, and I don't have the thing I want. So I have to go back in and D for dimension and get from that line to that line maybe, and then from this line to this line maybe there. Now at least I got my dimensions back, but I'm no longer at the midpoint. That thing's free to go. I could make a line in this case and find the midpoint there, come across horizontal there, and then bring those two together there. And now it is going to be at the midpoint. But I've had to do a big dance that I don't want to have to do. So this is the caution. Now, as I said earlier, it's not a never use it thing. There is a good practice. I do the same thing with my rectangle. Here. I'm not going to dimension anything. X to get rid of that for the next time. All right, line from here down to the midpoint here, there. Now, if I just want to extrude this piece, I don't need to trim at all. I just select that profile and I extrude it. I just ignore that chunk. So that's one way around it. But the general good practice, which I mix, and it's not one for me, is apply your constraints before your dimensions. Do this stuff before the dimensions. So if I do T for trim and I drag across these two, it says that you have messed something up maybe, but there wasn't anything there. Well, we did mess up our perpendicular. So we did mess something up in that case, but we didn't mess up our dimensions. So understanding this relationship between the constraints, the dimensions, and when you're using trim, you just have to understand to know when to use trim and not. I mean, you might bring in a graphic from somewhere else and it's messed up, and you have to go around and trim stuff off. That's a perfectly good use case for it. So just keep that in mind. There's generally no absolute always do this or never do that. So that's our trim. People who come from a 2D CAD world, they're perfectly happy doing trim and they get what they want. So I'm not being super strict about my view on this particular rule, if you will. For my workflow, I rarely do trim. All right, I got rid of that one. So this next one is going to be the tangent constraint. And it's a little tricky, and it's fairly compute expensive for the solver. So you can get it in a bind. And when you drag stuff around, it might jump around and do stuff not so controllable. Again, this calculating this constraint of tangent is a little bit crazy. Just watch it for the moment, this one, and then I'll get to, you guys can jump in. So I'm going to be making a circle and an arc and a couple lines, kind of like a cam looking thing. So many ways to do it, but to illustrate the tangents, if I make a circle and I lock it to here, there, go like that, I could make a an arc over here somewhere, like this, like that maybe. And now I can make a line from here to here. This is the slow way, by the way. I'm trying to show you by way of comparison, how not to do it, if you will. There. Did it do it? Yep. And then I can go about making my tangents. Maybe I'll go round robin there to there to there, there to there, and lastly there to there. Boom. Now I have what I'm after. And this is showing you one way, but not the way you want. By the way, as I think of it, over here, you can selectively hide and show different things like my constraints. So it might get busy in here. There's one reason I don't use mirror in the sketch if I can avoid it. Mirror constraint is going to, if you have a lot of things and you mirror them, you're going to have these things all over the place, cluttering it up. And you don't, when you come back to it, you don't know which was the source that got mirrored and which was the mirrored thing. So when I can, I do my mirroring outside on the bodies or the components or something different. But anyhow, this allows us to change the visibility on things. And if you have a really busy sketch that's slow, you can turn these things off and that will be less computation. You'll get a faster sketch. All right. So that is our Camadoodle looking thing here. I'm going to get rid of those. I'll show you one more way and then you can jump in. So I get rid of those. So if I do L for line, I can get my coincident to show up. If I hold shift, it automatically, oops, gonna do my line first. If I click it and I do shift, now you see it's got the little tangent icon where it's meeting the circle. And now anywhere I move, it stays tangent. So that's good. I'm gonna come over to here. If I do a long click and hold or I click again, I actually get an arc. So my line tool can make arcs. And the tangent one at that. So if I come down to here and I let go, now when I move away, I'm making a line. If I get close to tangent, it binds it and applies it. Or if I get close enough to tangent on here, it's kind of weird because I don't know if I see it. I gotta get closer here. It should find the tangent and snap. There it is, right there. It's a little tricky, but now I got that one to snap. In this case, I only get one of them tangent, which is not a problem because at least I've got that much done. And now it's only one that I have to apply to get to where I was. So this hidden power of the line allows us to make lines and arcs and lines and arcs. And each time it's going to be tangent. The last one is if I delete that, we do have an arc here called tangent arc. And that means the first click is going to be tangent and the second one's going to be whatever it is. And then I would have to go ahead and tangent them again. So smooth, again, tangent in layman's term just means a smooth connection and there's no intersection overlap, if you will. Just one point of intersection, I should say. So that is how that one works. So we're going to go ahead and do that one together from the start. So go ahead and do a C for circle. Click on the origin by good practice. Come out here, click that, hit enter, you're done with the circle. L for line. When we click on the edge, it finds it. We hold the shift key. That makes it tangent. Come out to here. This one's tricky. Sometimes you miss it. I do a long click and hold, and then I glide around, and then I let go. And now I can make my line. And if I get it to just the right place, it will be a tangent. Should be a tangent there. Oh, there it was. Right there. Get my tangent. I can hit enter or click and enter it. And now I could bring it there and make it tangent.
So
By the way,
so doing the line, you click, you
Yep.
go the
Yep.
control key, and that gives you it. No, not the control key. I had it a minute ago.
shift. Yep, the shift key. The
So
shift key will make it
So you go
tangent.
line, select,
Click it
shift,
and then
shift,
shift.
and that gives you the tangent. And I had
Yep.
that, but then how do you go to the arc at the end of that?
When you make a line, you just glide on.
Yep,
You click it again, or I do a long click and hold.
a long
And
click
then
and
when I
hold.
go that, yep, and then when I
Long,
glide,
yeah, long click and hold. I've got that.
yeah, you do that or you click it again, but I find better success with the long click and hold. And
Yeah.
now it's making an arc tangent to the line. And when I let go, I can do it again, or I can just glide and now I get a line.
Yeah.
But if I get close enough to tangent, it's going to recognize it and apply the tangent for me again. So you can be going around, click, 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 and quickly get your shape where it has lines and arcs. Yep. So that's a good one to have. The thing I was going to note here is I have this guy hanging out in space, and I want him to be tangent here. I could click this one and shift click that one, say tangent. They're tangent, but they're not touching yet. So tangent doesn't mean touching necessarily. You have to bring it in line. And then here, it might be a little tricky. Maybe you just explicitly tell it to be coincident with that one there. And boom. And now we've got our piece of geometry here. Oh. So however you get to that point, this is where we want to be. All right, so let's look at some other things about our tangents and whatnot here. So I have it at a little bit of an angle here. I might be interested in the dimension from the outside here to the outside there. So I might just do that. I hit the outside here, I hit the outside here. But lo and behold, I'm actually getting a center to center dimension. But that's not what I want. So I'm going to delete that one. We hit D for dimension and we right click. And hiding here, we change it from center to tangent. Now, when I hover, it makes a little black X to let me know that I'm finding that arc right there somewhere. If I come all the way across, it makes a black X, but it's got to be one place. I can't position it because it's going to be tangent. So now when I click, now I actually get that distance from tangent to tangent. So that's a tricky one. People don't see it because it's not the way it normally works. You have to know to right click and switch it. So in deeper dimension, right click, and here you change it from the default of center to the tangent. Now, let me do that again, actually. I can do that from here to this side. Now I have it there. All right, let's continue with this game. I am going to make it a little more well-behaved. I'm going to make this point in line horizontal with that one. So we have our horizontal vertical from here to here. That was an interesting one. Let me make sure that my arc is not going to get so small on me. There you go. That should maintain it somewhat closer to what I wanted. Again, the solver is trying to figure out how to make those constraints and dimensions, the definitions work, and it might do something you don't want it to do. All right, escape. Now, over here in my tree, it is telling me that there's a red lock and that it's locked. This is the rare case when it's lying, because if I drag this, you see it's not locked. And I believe this is a defect. This is a bug. The solver thinks it's solved. At least it will report that it's solved, but it's not. It can move around. I wouldn't worry about this too much. I've only seen it happen in this example I made up. I might have missed it in other times, but it is not fully constrained. So let us say if we give a dimension to this arc, maybe here, hit enter, R radius something. Now can I move it? So one of your tests is just to click and move stuff. And if it moves, you can undo. So now I know that it's telling me it's locked there with the red lock. It's telling me it's locked because all of the black. And in fact, it is locked. So just a little tricky thing to keep in mind. One thing I will note here now is that if I dimension this one here, it's going to be driven. That's okay, do driven. But you'll see that it has a diameter as a circle, and this has a radius as an arc. We might be interested in a different way. So I am going to release this dimension, delete this dimension. And now I should be able to make this one driving. Right click, driving. There we go. It says it's fully constrained without that other dimension I made. This is probably a little more in line with what you might really do. Now, I might want this one to depend on that one. But I want the radius to compare to the radius, not this old diameter. So, little notes to a lot of people, you right click on here and just switch it to a radius. And now that value is half of what it was because it's now just the radius. So that's handy. Now, if I edit this one with a double click, I can reference, like double click, hello, 1, 2. How come you're not editing? Hit escape. Can you edit yours?
Yeah, I can
Should
edit mine.
If you can get it to edit, I don't know why mine, oh, I know. Or do I know? Sometimes it's wonky. If you can get it to edit
Too
deeper
close to the
dimension,
browser tree, probably.
yeah, it shouldn't.
It seems to be overlapping on your browser tree. If you look, yeah. It's still, if you move the sketch slightly to the right, maybe.
Thank you. Oh, excellent. So now it's waiting. I can reference this one. I can click this. And it's now entered the name it gave it for dimension, whatever the number is. And now I can say something like times 3. And now that one is a function, an expression based on that one. It's always 3 times this one. So if I make this one 50, if I make this one 50, I should be able to move that one. It's making a liar of me. I'm getting that message down here again. I might have to abandon this. I'm not sure why it's not doing that.
Isn't your bottom dimension driving?
Yeah, and also if you went if you
uh,
went 1.2 times the R24, rather than doing it such a big change, because you might break the whole sketch by going the change you went earlier.
Everything is driven. If I double click that one, click that one. Oops, I did it too many times. If I click that one and say times 1.5, and now can I change this one? There we go. And that might be the tangent thing is kind of wonky. But now if I make this one, what's it currently there? Make it 40. There we go. All right.
I think the problem was that like 3 times broke the whole sketch, broke all the relationships.
Yep.
I wouldn't let you do it.
So
Yep,
messing
times
around, what I just figured out that bottom dimension from arc to
Yep.
arc, when you did the
It
math,
didn't allow it.
it
didn't
created it
allow
to
it.
be on that dimension constraint. So it wouldn't
Yeah,
do
if
it.
I turn that one to driven, now I shouldn't have that problem. I should be able to make this 3 or 4 or whatever. Because now it can size itself. Before it couldn't go out far enough. That's what happened. All right, we're getting a good understanding of how this constraint system works. So I'm back to something like this. The last thing I will show in this is I'm going to make a line and a line like that. So we'll do L for line. We'll click that one, let go, hit shift. We'll come to here, and then we'll come down to here and make that one touch it. Go ahead and make it tangent like this. There. All right. Now, if I dimension one of these lines, D for dimension, and I make a true length like that, there. This one will be driven by virtue of the constraints. There. Now, if I make a fillet, I can click a line and a line, or easier yet, I can actually just click that point. If I click the point and I hit enter, you see that we have something goofy going on here. I might not really care. I might really cared what that distance was. I just want my center to center or something, and I put a radius. So again, this is a reason not to use fillets in a sketch when you don't have to, in general. Also, fillets can lead to downstream issues on your solids. So if I'm reverse engineering something, often I have to use a fillet inside here just to get it to match up. But in many cases, if I have a rectangle and I'm going to fillet the edges on my flange or something, I just leave that off. I just make a rectangle, I get out, and I fillet those edges in
I
the
run
3D
into that issue
space.
all the time.
Yeah. Yep. It's a 3D CAD good practice not to put fillets in your sketches for those couple of reasons.
And
So
once it
anyhow,
turns into a habit, like you don't. For me, it's a habit, and
yes.
I sometimes just do it, and I completely forget it, and then I run into it, and I can't go back.
Yeah, and it's not the end of the world. I'm more rigorous than most people, so I'm thinking ahead of time and keeping it all in order. Other people don't worry so much; they just want to get the thing, and they don't care how sloppy it is, or how they've messed up their structure. Because my goal, my good practice, is not just to get the geometry, but to get the underlying structure that gives you the control and gives you a quickly computing timeline and a easy to understand when you look at it. So I'm not just trying to get the geometry, like I said, I'm trying to get good underlying structure. But in the end, you could still get your mesh out and print it or whatever. So that is fun with tangents. If you get a lot of these, like I said, it really taxes the solver and it'll jitter around and not behave very well at all. You can, by the way, get other ways to realize your, should note this before I get out here and here. If I have a line coming off here and I want it tangent to that circle, I could make it perpendicular to a radius. Right? If I make those guys perpendicular, now I've effectively made it tangent. So that's a good workaround if you really have to get that tangent relationship in your sketch, but the tangent constraint itself is acting wonky. There are other ways to realize that tangency, like I did right here. Excellent. Moving right along. All right, I'm going to go back and forth and play this little game to get my thing back up here. All right, we got a lot going there. We've got the tube. I think that's the next thing here, is to get our tube. All right, this is good. I'm going to come back here and fix this little goofiness there. All right. We're going to make our tube with a rectangle revolved around a line. So you can follow along in this time. R for rectangle off to the left near the red line. Up and over. Thin, tall like that. Hit enter. Thought I had that taken care of. Let me get this out of the way. So I turned it off. I thought I turned it off. All right, we're back. Okay, so now we have our rectangle. We're going to make our line for our revolution L, but I'm going to make it this fancy center line right there. It has some nice properties. And I'm going to lock it to the origin and bring it up close-ish to the top and hit enter. And it put my horizontal and I got my free end. Okay, so there we go. We're going to revolve this around that to get our tube. Sometimes people will make a circle or a circle in a circle and do it that way. It doesn't show your design intent as well. And if you have multiple, it's much better just to make a side profile that has the little ribs sticking out and just down as you go. And then you get everything in one revolve. So recognize geometry as a revolve is often better than seeing it as an extrude. Side note. So we need to start locking this guy down. So maybe I want to make sure that that point is in line with that point. So if I go ahead and make those horizontal vertical, now I see I have black. So I'm starting to get some action here, but I can still drag my width and my height, if you will. So let's lock those down. Maybe I'll make my thickness here, and I'll make my height here. And now is the reason I chose this one. I might be interested in the inner diameter of my tube that I'm about to make. I could dimension the radius, say the diameter divided by 2, but my design intent is really thinking about diameter. So because I chose this special line, when I dimension from it to here, I get the full length dimension. Even though there's nothing over here to the right, I'm getting the full length diameter. That is the thing I'm really interested in. So there it is. Now, I got all black. That's all black. But I don't have a red lock. Who knows why I don't have a red lock? What do I do? And do I need to do it? It's not fully constrained, I can tell you that. Why not? And how would we fix it? And does it matter in this case? The answer is no, doesn't matter in this case. But what is the problem? Look around. You know how to identify things. You know how to think about it. You can scratch your head if you have to.
The distance of the square from the construction line, the rectangle from the construction line in the middle. No, that is measured, that is set. That's 96. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what that is. That is.
What was the
How-
question again?
Why is it not fully constrained? Here's a hint. Remember back when we looked at this infographic?
The
Give you
center
another
line is not defined.
There you go. This guy has a free point and he's good to go. Now, how would I fully constrain it if I wanted to? Several ways.
Well, you can make it the same dimension as your height of your cylinder.
That's right. You could do that. That might be
Would-
a little,
Well,
You could
that
fix,
becomes the driven, right? So that would make sense if you don't need it to be any other dimension.
or you'd fix the top point
Yeah.
yes.
where your cursor
can-
is, just hit fix.
Yeah, that one there, you can make those horizontal,
Yeah.
right? Now I have my lock. And a couple other possible ways. But the
And
point
your browser
is,
tree is gone.
oh, thank you. The point is, oh, because I went to my infographic. Thank you.
Yes.
Now I know the condition and the fix. So in this case, the reason for fully constraining is so if you mess anything up, it doesn't mess with your design intent. And all we really need is a line vertical to the side of our rectangle. It doesn't matter the height of it, the size of it. I can mess with this and I don't mess with my design intent. So again, this black and white thinking of always do this or never do that. If you understand a little deeper conceptually what's happening, you can realize and do your actions accordingly and be better at what you're doing. Hopefully, that's the idea here. So I can leave it like that for the sake of argument. So if we finish our sketch and we do our revolve, and we do our revolve, not our sweep, look at that. It automatically identified the profile because it's the only one there. Now for the axis, it had several choices, right? Each line of the rectangle could be an axis. But because we use the fancy center line, it chose that one first.
Okay.
Because if I delete it and I choose this one, now I get a disk.
Wait.
All right. Yep. So anyhow, the whole point of everything, not just the constraints and the sketches, is to realize your design intent and to do it effectively, efficiently, and productively. Get the underlying structure for the control and the speed and the understandability based on your design intent, the critical aspects, what's driving what, and those things we talked about. So the takeaway from this whole class is to think differently, to think holistically, to understand the system. And once you get that and you've identified the relationships at the concept abstract idea level, then knowing the tools and the actions, how to use them, then you can choose which things to implement it the way you want it. So that's really a kind of a summary nutshell of all that we've been driving at here. So I am going to go back. I'm going to go on my undo list. I'm going to go back, sketch, back, normal and line, drag. I'm going to go back. I just want to get back into a sketch. I could have deleted stuff or something. But I am back in my sketch. However you do it, we don't need that solid body is what I'm getting at. So you can get rid of it any way you'd like. We just want to get back into a sketch. And if I know what I'm doing here, and if I remember to fix it on the way back over. All right, we've covered a lot here. Building up in our understanding and our complexity. Okay. I think we are down to our slot. Okay. Let me get my browser fixed there. One last thing before I get out of here, just so this is free. Now, sometimes you can't see exactly what's going on. There is a hidden, you can, in your Windows, you can go under File. Under Mac, you go under View, but File, View, or View, you can show the text commands. And there is a command line like AutoCAD or something. It's for developers. It's not really for your workflow, but it does have a handy command. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight, activate my bottom there, and it's called Sketch. It's in the Sketch class, and the method is called show under constrained. I did that right. It tells me under constrained points 1, curves 0. And in my data info area, it's telling me what's selected. And it has, in fact, it's a little hard to tell here, but it's made that one selected blue. So if you're really stuck, you can go to the command line, enter this command. It's in the docs that I shared, and then it will identify the problem areas for you. That's your pro tip, the very little known command line and sketch.show under constrained. Excellent.
Okay. And how's it highlighting?
Yeah, if I do delete that one, delete this one here. Now, if I rerun it, I do up arrow to bring back my commands there. Now it's a little more obvious that it's highlighted this stuff.
And is there a like in certain operating systems, there's an autofill. So if I do a sketch something, is it going to show me the options for sketch dot what's available? Or are you just
No, it doesn't. SolidWorks has one that will automatically apply constraints and fully constrain it for you, which may or may not be the combination that you want, but it will at least do it.
I'm talking about just the text commands themselves.
No, not to my knowledge. It won't give you any instruction on how to go about constraining it.
No. Available commands. Like for instance.
Oh, yes. You get question mark and double question mark. I think it's there you go. Yes. You can query the system and dig your way down the classes and the methods and figure out what commands are available to you. Yep.
If you go, sorry, if you go to the up on the right-hand side of your screen where you have your image, there's a question mark next door to it. And if you click on that, if you just go up a little bit, no, to the top of your screen where your face is that, no, right.
Oh yeah.
Click on that, and you go to yeah, but in there you've got the document, the API documentation, which will give you all those commands, examples, and what to do in that.
Oh yeah.
So if you go learning, if you go to Fusion 360 API or product documentation, you will find one of those bottom two. You will find all those commands in there. Yeah.
Well, because the problem
they're listed somewhere.
You have to be very literal. If you don't know how to spell constrained, you'll never figure out this command.
But the documentation is in there.
Yeah, that's the nature of programming. You got to have some brain to at least get words somewhere close, right? I mean,
Visual Basic, I can hit the the tab key and it'll finish the command.
Yep, that's a fill, autofill, tidbits, or what do they call them, snippets, stuff like that. Yeah, I am a programmer, so there are all kinds of ways to optimize this. It's not the focus of this class, obviously, but the thing that I did want to note, but thank you for letting people know about the API to get at a online list, if you will, probably. But for the purpose of here, the one command of interest is our sketch.show under constrained. But yes, you feel free to play around with all of the other aspects now that you know this hidden gem is here. There are some cool things about it. I've had a fun play with it, being a programmer type myself. And now I'm going to hide those commands because I'm done with them. All right, we're coming to the end here. Let us go and delete all of this. And you can follow along. I'm going to do some slots. You could do them individually, creating the geometry, but go ahead up to create and go to slots. The first three are linear. The last two are arced. We're going to do the first three. So there's one there. And that one was called, oh, is it going to be over here? That one is, we got center to center, center point, and overall. All right, center to center. Very well. So if I do a center to center and then drag out, I get that one. If I do the next one, go ahead and follow along. This one's going to be, oh, the second one in this list is overall. It's different than the other. So that's going to be from one outer to the other outer. That. And then the last one is going to just go from a midpoint. I got to get my Zoom interface out of the way. Slot. Center point slot. So that means from a center out and then down. Enter. All right. Let me do Alt double click. That's going to fit everything in. Zoom back just a little bit. Get those out of the way. All right. So here we have our three types of linear slots, and they have their own combo of constraints, but they're not fully constrained. So here is where you guys get to test yourself and see what you've learned, and I'll help you along the way if you need. So who wants to analyze one of these? You're going to share your screen. You're going to delete everything but one of them, and then you're going to analyze why it is the way it is, and then you're going to fully constrain it, and then you're going to play with it in whatever way you want. This is a culmination of what you've learned. So whoever wants to jump in first, who wants to try one?
I'll give it a whirl.
As the teacher says, don't make me. Okay, so go ahead, and I'm going to stop sharing here. If you share your screen with Alt S or Command Shift S if you're Windows, you should be able to share your screen with us. And there it comes. Does everybody see your screen?
Yep.
Yep, I see it.
Okay. Go ahead and delete two of them and leave one, maybe the first one, but whatever one you want, just so we remember which is which. Center, center.
So this
There you
is
go. Okay, he's going to go.
center to center.
That's the center point. That's, well, it is center to center point. They call it center, right? So you went from the center out, and it went symmetrically and effectively made it center to center, but they called it differently. Anyhow, go ahead. You get to identify the constraints. Tell us why they are as they are to make this particular slot, and then fully constrain it.
Identify the ones that are there.
That's right. Why are those particular constraints there that make that particular kind of slot? That's the question.
So you have tangents on either end because we're bringing, and then parallel. Right.
Yep. Awesome.
And then I don't remember what the hell that is. Center line.
Remember, you can click it and look in the bottom right, or you can long click and hold.
That would be a horizontal constraint.
There you go. So you can answer the question yourself when I'm gone. Okay. So there you have it. Now, how do you, and what is that construction line all about?
That's
the dashed orange stripe.
The center line itself. Right. Well,
center of what?
What
is it making a center of?
Well, it's the actual. So if my diameter here, so this is the center line for the arcs themselves.
That's right. Those points are the arc centers, and they are also the line ends, and they happen to be coincident on top of each other. So that line is the center to center separation of the center of the arcs.
Yes.
Okay, now how do we lock it down?
So I would imagine one way is right there.
That's a start. I like that. That's a logical one. Yep.
And then
All right.
here, lock the slot width.
I like that. You could have also done the radius, but this makes more sense. You're not interested in the radius. You're interested in the slot width. So that's good.
And
It's
then,
still got a pencil.
okay, did you say, what'd you
What
say?
was, it still has the pencil, so it's not fully locked and it's not black. Remember, one of our guiding principles was to reference the origin. That's a good practice.
I don't remember how to do that.
So you could dimension it or constrain it relative to the origin.
This origin here?
That is the origin. That's the only origin in our sketch. Yep. Where our X and Y cross each other. That is the 0, 0 origin point. Yep.
And would I constrain it to say this center point or the arc center?
Try it.
It doesn't
That's
do
the
it.
beauty of this. Try it again. You just misclicked something. It
Okay.
should do it.
And I'm still pencil.
All right. So click and drag stuff and figure out what's not locked down.
My horizontal or the let's see here.
You'll struggle a little bit. This is good for learning. I'm not sure. We could always use our command line to try and have it identify everything for us. But you have, it looks like it should be up arrow will bring back your last commands. Up arrow.
The overall dimension value. Crap, 6 unconstrained.
6 points and 5 lines all the way around and the center line, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all those points. Is this another case where it's lying to us? It looks like it should be fully constrained to me. Try this. Delete that last dimension you made from the origin.
Oh, here.
Up high. Up high. There you go. Yeah. Delete that one. Try to drag the center point of that arc over the origin to the left, to right. That center point on the right. To your right. Go to your right and find the point. No. You got to drag it by the point, not the line. Nope, you're dragging the line. You need to drag the point. There you go.
That was it.
Drag that point. There you go. Now it's locked it down. All right. Last thing. Then we'll get to the next person. How do you make it so you can angle it, rotate it? What do you have to do? What's preventing it from rotating around that center? There you go. Delete that guy.
Yeah.
And now you should be able to drag the left end point to angle it, because you can't do the right one. It's tied down.
Right.
But that point should go. Is it not letting you give an angle? The point. Drag the point, not the line. That line's point at the left. There you go. There you go.
It's not showing me the angle.
And then you could.
Right. I would
No. Because you don't have you haven't dimensioned it.
Right.
You would have to create a line or bring in the axis. Yeah.
Wait, that didn't.
There you go. Is it going to let you hit escape?
No.
Go over, get rid of that. Oh, that is going to do it, but not by angle. That's going to do it by your height. If you, in the tree on the left, grab the x-axis first. You have to do it in a weird order. If you do a dimension, D for dimension, hit the x-axis where it says X, click the word X. No, you hit the, you didn't get it. Go back. Oh, there it is. There you go. There you go. Now click the dash line. Now click the dash to the left. Now you'll get an angle. There you go. All right. The struggle is good. You win. You conquered it.
Okay, by the way, you had mentioned about constraining splines, and it's a weird,
Yeah.
but can constrain them by putting a dimension on those arms?
You can do almost anything. You can't use a tangent constraint on a spline, but all the other ones I've tried, you can do. But the problem with the fit point is you just have so many points and lines with your tangent handle and whatever else that it's just not practical.
Right, because we went through this on my project where you guided me through, I was using the wrong spline type. Well,
So there's an appropriate spline or not.
Right.
And you can make a tangent between the frame on the control point where the points don't touch, and you get that dash construction line with the control points. You can make those lines tangent to something. And you can make your handles in the fit point tangent to something. But you can't make something tangent to the curve along the curve anywhere. That's the odd behavior of it.
by dimensioning the handles, I was able to get the whole thing fully constrained, but which is maybe the stupid way to do it. But anyway, all right.
No, if you only have a few, it doesn't take much, and you get your design intent, and you've made it manageable, and it's a good practice. If you have 10, 20, 50 nodes, and each node has a line and 2 endpoints, plus the nodes,
yeah,
then it's going to be impractical in that case.
Yeah.
So if it's simple enough, then maybe you can do it. If it's got too much going on, then it's not worth your effort. All right, who wants to try one of the other ones? There we go. Step right up. Alt R or Alt S, I should say, or Shift Command S if you're Mac. That should let anybody share their screen. Whoever shares first, you're the next victim. No takers? Again, I'll guide you through it, so don't worry if you stumble a bit. That's normal. Like I said, confusion is part of learning. So embrace it. Don't push back on it. All right, I don't want to have to pick somebody. Who's going to do one of the ones right there? Christian, did I hear you say maybe you're going to give it a go?
He's muted.
I am muted.
No, he was.
Oh, I was sorry, I was
you-
taking a phone call, but I gotta open it because
Oh,
I
that's-
had it open on my PC, so I would have to open it here.
All right. If anybody else is ready ahead of him, that's all right. Go ahead and get yourself in position because there's 3 of these, and I want people. There we go. And which one is this?
There we go. This is Adam.
Adam. And Adam,
we
which
go.
particular slot is this?
This is the end to end.
Overall, yes. End to end.
Overall, end to end.
Yeah, but those labels both point to the same concept, right? So that's the same concrete concept idea I push. Okay, so go ahead and tell the class why things are the way they are to make the overall slide.
So we've got your 4 tangents to connect your curves to your straight lines. You've got your 2
Yep.
parallel constraints to keep your 2 edges of the slots parallel with each other. This is using your midpoint for I guess the midpoint of these 2 points to join with the edges of the curves.
Yep.
And
That's your overall line.
your overall. And then in the
Yep.
middle, you've got your horizontal constraint to keep it flat horizontally.
Right, if you wanted it that way. All right.
Yep.
So how do you fully constrain it?
For this one, I would dimension the ends. And then I would
Cool.
dimension.
You could dimension just the line, which is probably easier, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's all right.
And then dimension the overall width of the slot.
Yeah.
From there, we need to lock it to the center point, and now we're fully constrained.
Awesome. All right. Now, what if we wanted it to look more like a cam and not be a slot, more like the thing we made earlier? What do you have to do?
Cam.
We want to flare it out. Yeah, remember, well, like a cam shaft or
Hello.
push rod. So remember we made the one with the circle and then the arc on the end. So it looked a lot like a slot, but it had angles.
Oh,
to the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sides. We did it. Yeah. How might you make that one look like that?
We could get rid of those, and then I guess we
I
could
believe
probably,
so.
let me do this. Dimension the radius,
Give it a shot.
and then
Excellent.
yeah, dimension the other radius,
All right.
and that'll
And,
constrain you.
look at that. You're a winner. Chicken dinner. You have done a fine job. Excellent. All right. Christian, are you at a place where you're going to be able to do?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Alt S or Shift Command S, whichever OS you have. It takes a moment. It should come up. Everybody should see it. I'm liking it. So the last one to do, go to your slot if you haven't already got it in there under Create. And the slot is lower. No, that's your rectangle. Down further, halfway slot. There it is. So which one have we not done?
Center
Is this the
point.
one we haven't done? Okay. I thought we did center point. Why am I thinking?
Okay.
Stop for a minute.
I didn't do the shape, so I didn't see how you guys did the shape.
We did center. I
So
did.
which one?
He did overall, and
Yeah.
now center point.
So do center to center.
No,
That's
that's
the
what.
one that hasn't been done. Oh, who did? There's one called center and one called center to center. Which one is remaining?
I did. Center point is the one remaining.
Okay, center point. No, center point is the one remaining. The third one.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's.
I didn't see how you guys did the shape, so I didn't get there because I had to
Okay,
close it.
okay, okay, that's all right. Go ahead, go to create, and we're doing the center point one. Go to create slot. And it's going to be center point. All right, now it's going to tell you, go ahead and click. Wait a minute. It's telling you select center. So go ahead and click and select a center. And now it says select second point. So move it and get a second point. And click. And then it should be asking you to do the point on slot. So go ahead, and this is giving the width. And click there. Boom, you did it. So you have made a center point slot. So your task is, again, like the others, to explain why those constraints are the way they are to make that particular slot, then to fully constrain it, and then finally edit, mess with it.
Okay, so
I'll
we
help
have
you
to
along the way.
give a measurement to both lines here.
Do you have to do it? Go ahead, go for it. We'll find out. There you go. Let
Okay, so then, I mean, technically, it's not.
so you have a center to center length, so that's good. You have the radius, which is effectively the width of it as well, but that's another way to do it. What else? Bring your attention back to one of our good practices is to reference the origin of our sketch. Somehow connect our shape to the origin, our fixed datum.
By putting it to the origin
That's
here.
good. Yeah, that's one. Look at that. Bam, you did it. The red lock has appeared. All right. So the last thing is,
So all we're
how
doing
deep-
is, sorry, all we're doing is giving it like a dimension and Like, for example, we gave it 200 here and a radius of 25 and then put it to the origin, and that locks it in
That's right.
place.
That's right. All you had to do additionally was add 2 dimensions and 1 constraint automatically by dragging the 1 point over the origin point, and bam, you got it. Excellent. Now, what if you wanted to rotate this thing about the origin because it's locked to the origin? How do you make it so you can rotate it? What's preventing it from rotating? That's another way to ask it. Which constraint is preventing it from?
This one? No, these 2 are fixed here.
So I'll ask it one more time. Listen carefully. Which constraint is preventing it from rotating? There's only so many constraints there, and you know what you've already called out what most of them do. So,
Oh, sorry.
you'll get there.
Sorry. Yes,
Again.
this thing is in the way. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, it could be a little tricky.
Okay, so this one is constrained, and this one
you
is
got to get back.
constrained.
You're hold on. You're too far back. There you go. Now you're back where you were. Okay, now you have it fully constrained. The question again is, what constraint is preventing it from rotating? You can just go through them one at a time.
This
Which
one?
constraint is preventing it from rotating? What one are you talking about?
This one here?
What is it? What's the name of it?
That I would not know.
How do we find out? We talked about it earlier.
Oh, the sketch point X?
Okay, that's not a constraint. That's a entity of the line. The constraints are all those icons you see.
The tangent
That's a
constraint?
do it. You want to get rid of it?
Yeah, how would I do that?
You can delete it on your keyboard, or you can do it in that menu. We are losing something in your sketch display. There you go. It's back. All right. Now it's not fully constrained, so you click and drag stuff.
No.
Nope, that's not what you want. So go ahead and get yourself back. Undo again till you get your thing back.
P.
Okay.
Does anybody want to jump in and help out our poor student? We don't
It's a
want to make you
horizontal
spend too
constraint.
much.
I'll jump in.
There you go.
So if you look, that you are right in the sense of the middle line. However, that middle line is fixed in terms of being parallel, I think, or in line with the red axes. Yep. Which constraint is holding it in line with the horizontal axes?
This one here?
That's your midpoint.
That's a point.
So that line, the construction line that goes through the middle of it?
Yeah.
There's a constraint.
Move
to your left. What is that constraint?
Yeah, that's it.
If you click on the constraint, you want a moment. If you look at the bottom right now, click on that. What's the constraint?
Horizontal constraint.
So if you take the horizontal constraint off that line, what will that shape do?
Now you try to move stuff around.
Grab the midpoint and pull the midpoint up and down and see if it moves.
Okay.
It should, if you do it right.
Yeah, click on the point and drag it.
Go.
Yeah, it has a lag.
Yeah, I saw a slight movement there.
Yeah, that's the deal. There you go. So let's wrap it up, and I'll tell you something to make sure. So the distinction that you are missing is the difference between a constraint and a geometry entity. The constraints are those icons that you see. Those are the constraints. In fact, If you go over to your palette, there's a checkbox for constraints, and you can turn them on and off in your palette on the right. Go down in your palette, and there's going to be one called constraints, and turn that one on and off and see what happens. Those are your constraints.
Okay.
The other stuff is the geometry. So you had a mismatch in your understanding of the terminology, which we're correcting now. When they said, look at that constraint, click on that constraint, you were actually clicking on geometry and not a constraint.
Okay.
Anyhow, that's the distinction you want to make. All right. You're off the hook. You can breathe again. Let me come to here. I will remind everybody that before you leave, not necessarily right now, but before you leave, you want to stop your recording so that it compresses it and saves it to your drive, wherever you have that set up. That is all there. We're at the end here. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. All of that. And you can go back and read through this, and it will hopefully make more sense now that you've been through stuff. And obviously, the sooner the better, so it's still fresh in your head. And here again is our keyword and concepts. So you review these to see which ones ring a bell and which ones don't. All of that. So I am going to go back to here and then go to here. Oops. There. All right, that's good. Let me get back over to here. Where's my, uh-oh. Give me a moment, I'm lost. I am trying to find my peeps. Where are my peeps? That's not it there. I can't see you guys anymore. I don't know what happened to it all. That's, oh, there you are. Hello, we're back. All right, so this is the wrap up. A quick reminder, there will be a quick optional 2-question survey just to get your feedback to hopefully improve the class. Always room for improvement. So any closing comments, questions as pertains to this subject matter? And then in the future, if you want to Facebook chat me with a specific project and or a specific aspect that you need help with, I'm available. But in this moment, feel free to ask any questions and make any comments, and then we'll make our final goodbyes.
Mm,
There might not be anything.
Anything-
This has been
anything
this has been
specific, no.
it's a thorough introduction. I tend to be rather thorough. I give the overview, big picture, then I get into the details, and then the things always catch my mind. So I'm like that absent-minded professor who's always going off track and doing all these other things. But my end goal is to empower you and to teach you to fish. And if I do my job right, you don't need me anymore. You can figure it out on your own.
My feedback, I thought it was very good. I've enjoyed it. I would like to recap the recording. I'm not sure if mine has worked or not. But yes,
Yeah,
I thought it was
you
very
guys
good.
can-
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're
And
very
just
welcome.
reach out
You guys
if
can do it.
you have an issue with the recording, and we can always swap.
Yeah.
Okay,
If
thank you
one
very
person
much,
gets it,
Michael.
everybody gets it. And I have recorded it up to the cloud. I have the pro version of Zoom. I recorded to the cloud. It's going to make an AI summary, which is kind of interesting. All the little things we did along the way, it points out. And with the audio and the video, either in Zoom or some third-party app, you can even make a time-stamped transcript that, in best case, it's connected to the video, and you just click on the timestamp and you go to that place. Because the longer the video, the harder it is to find, and the longer the time goes between when you watched it and when you go back to watch it, when you do the class and you go back to watch it, the less value you have. So the more you can fit in earlier, the better, is my point, to make your time, most worthwhile. All right, I think that's a wrap, and I think the 5 grouping worked a lot better than the 20. I got a lot more good interaction. People were more open to asking questions. Excellent. with that, I thank you all for your participation, and we'll catch you around. Wishing you continued success.
Thank you. This is
Thank
good.
you. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye. You can
Thanks.
find
Much
the
appreciated.
leave.
Thank you.
Yep, you can find the leave. I better stop recording and make sure that mine,
Hey, John.
that's, hello, you're still here? Yes, we're still here.
Yeah, so you can stop the recording. I just wanted to, from one programmer to the next, if you have 5 minutes, geek for a second.
Sure. Let me find my stop recording. Here we go. I think I have to do it as well. And I will not record this last part, and the other people aren't going to care anyhow. After stopping, you'll receive an email notification when the cloud recording is ready.